into the internet, that it's bad, and that private companies will have government hubs tied into them to snoop on everyone without warrants and to be able to shut down the web instantly. See, right now the government has to get warrants and go out and seize all the hubs. Here's another one. America's secret police. Intelligence experts warn the proposal to merge 2 Pentagon intelligence units could create an ominous new agency. And the head of cybersecurity just resigned 3 weeks ago, saying the Pentagon and Homeland Security are taking over the internet and it's a threat to freedom in America. So their own guys quitting, saying this takeover is happening. All the radio and TV in the nation under the emergency alert system in '96 under a federal law and executive order, FEMA is wired into the transmitters themselves and cable to take over all the systems and broadcast anytime they want. Before, the stations would tune to a signal themselves. Now that's out of their hands. All of that's going on. So see, they've got the preachers, they've got the citizens, they've got the military prepared for martial law, and they could remotely listen to you even when the cell phone's off. That's standardized, the cell phones. And all telecommunications companies were given $9 billion total to put in whole floors for the NSA to move into. So the NSA doesn't tap the phone companies, they are the phone companies. Just like FEMA on all radio, TV, cable, you name it, is already in control with hubs at the transmitter site or at the satellite uplink site. The last piece of equipment, this is in my film Police State 2000, by the way. See, I was sitting there talking to the engineer in 1996 at KJFK FM, and he calls me over and goes, look at this, Alex, they're ordering us to do this. Here's all the secret documents. We're not supposed to show this to anybody. And I was sitting there reading it. FEMA takes over through this. Everything you do goes through this system. I mean, that's what you hear when it goes, bang, bang, bang. You know, this has been an emergency alert system. That is a federal test tone going via shortwave radio transmitters, dials in, and takes control of your radio station. And that's what they say right here. During emergencies, when they're rounding people up and arresting them and shooting people, their job is to keep the media shut down. They don't have to come arrest Alex Jones. They hit one button, the internet shuts off. They hit one button,
In the not-too-distant future, a self-proclaimed intellectual elite will rule every aspect of our lives.
People in the world are content to stay as first or second level
The
maggots.
economy is emerging from the recession.
We have to keep geoengineering on the table.
Implementation depends on motivation.
An alarming and possibly catastrophic disaster.
Already the path has been chosen. The design set in motion decades ago. Their endgame?
Complete control. Water. Air.
The economy.
Population and even human logistics
will all fall within their purview. The goal? To acquire all the natural resources of the planet and bring them securely under government control.
All activities of mankind will be monitored, accounted for, and controlled.
Legislation pretending to address concerns about the environment,
national security,
and financial stability will in fact be used to erode the very foundations of liberty and to enslave the population. This will all happen in the name of security and progress. Alluding to the notion that this is all for our protection, this will not miraculously occur overnight with the sudden proclamation of martial law.
It has been happening incrementally for at least half a century. Every law enacted that truncates the Bill of Rights in the name of national security
is another nail in our coffin. Through this type of increasingly invasive legislation, the systematic decay of constitutional law becomes inevitable.
Thousands of years of building and rebuilding, creating and recreating so you can let it crumble to dust.
Leaving our essential rights neutered and impotent. The Bill of Rights is reduced to a quaint antique, collecting dust in a library somewhere, retaining all the potency of a fairy tale. Martial law, called a more politically neutral catchphrase, is practiced with an iron fist.
The implosion of the economy has begun by design. The United States dollar is under attack and losing value every day,
while the cost of living continues to skyrocket.
New laws that will effectively double taxes are already on the books and ready to be implemented.
Nothing has been introduced to help homeowners with their now default loans.
But at the same time, money is generously given to bankers who give themselves huge bonuses.
During one of the worst economic downturns in history and dry up loans to small businesses.
All the while, the economy spirals downward at a free fall rate.
As the citizens of the United States lose their ability to take care of themselves, the government conveniently steps in to save the day.
Capitalism gives way to socialism, and then without much notice, into the neo-dark ages of the one-world government-style dictatorship.
Once this task has been completed and the control grid is firmly in place, they can play their final trump card.
FEMA camps.
And by design, we will welcome the salvation with open arms.
As any alternative will surely seem like suicide.
Once we've been properly enslaved, they gain control over the rest of Earth's natural resources. Humanity.
America, here's what you need to know tonight.
I'm, basically a rodeo clown.
If you have any kind of fear that we might be headed towards a totalitarian state, look FEMA out. Trailers, FEMA prisons, FEMA camps.
I want proof. If they exist, I want pictures.
I lost sleep last night worrying about this story, thinking about this story.
But when I see, 9/11 victim family on television or whatever, I'm just like, oh, shut
Well,
up.
Yesterday we talked about debunking conspiracy theories. The only thing that I answer to is myself. And I just want to be able to look at myself in the mirror and also sleep at night.
Glenn Beck, a year and a half ago, said that Ron Paul supporters should be arrested and that the army should be used against them, and that they were dangerous terrorists.
You need more tears.
Yeah, I'm listening. Okay. Try to keep your eyes open. I know it's probably impossible.
Or that's what I'd have you believe.
It took me about a year to start hating the 9/11 victims' families. I don't hate all of them. I hate probably about 10 of them.
Any of these 9/11 truthers, who I've been telling you for years, are dangerous.
Guy Fawkes. This guy was a British terrorist who tried to overthrow the government by blowing up Parliament and killing everybody in it. Paul's supporters called the donations, and I'm quoting, a money bomb. It's really not the way I would go, tying my movement in with a historical terrorist attack.
You're right. There's a strain of isolationism and anarchy in the American tradition, which Ron Paul is tapping into. I think it's very significant that he chose Guy Fawkes. There are plenty of, unfortunately, libertarian websites which are indistinguishable from the anti-American left these days.
Yeah.
So, totally in bed with the Islamo-fascists and have turned against this country.
Where am I wrong? The Ron Paul Revolution. I think it's meant to be a catchy slogan, but I fear some of his fringe supporters are taking the word revolution too literally.
What Glenn Beck is saying is a talking point being given out to the media.
And this is going to drive the conspiracy theorists crazy. Let me out. I have this. They're making me say this. Help.
Because we were seeing Bill O'Reilly and Sean Hannity say it. We were seeing CNN hosts say it. We were seeing Joe Scarborough say it. And I said, that's a talking point. And then suddenly he started saying a few months ago, I'm going to expose the FEMA camps.
If these things exist, that's bad, and we will cover it. If they don't exist, it's irresponsible to not debunk this story. We have an independent group on this program looking into it, turning over every stone. I am going to bring you this story.
He announced a few weeks ago, I'm going to have Popular Mechanics, the yellow journalist, on to debunk all of this.
So I asked James from Popular Mechanics to do an investigation on several projects. The first one is the FEMA camp.
Yes, and so we put a reporter on this, and what's so interesting here, we're waiting to really do a definitive deep dig on this. We don't like to just come out and say, oh, we've debunked it, after we've looked at it for 2 days.
And how is Glenn Beck debunking it? I have predicted tonight, we'll see if I'm right, that he will do a straw man and focus on the websites that are getting it wrong.
correct. And what we did was we looked into these claims. You know, you can't go and visit every one of the 600 sites that some of these conspiracy theorists claim. So we started looking at the ones that are most popular on the internet.
And I said, well, look out, folks. He's just trying to get your confidence to then discredit it later.